Archangel Michael says, "The night has been chosen, and the clock will not wait." A voice heavy with pain is moving toward you, carrying words that will pierce through the stillness of your soul. By midnight, the confession will break open the truth you were never meant to know. You can already feel the shift in the air, a quiet unease that refuses to leave. Something inside you senses the weight of what's coming, though the details remain hidden. The message is not arriving to harm you, but to strip away the illusions that have clouded your vision. It will not come from a stranger, but from a presence that knows your life like the back of their hand. Their eyes have watched your journey, their hands have touched the same walls you've leaned on, and their silence has been louder than any words. Tonight, that silence will collapse under the weight of their own conscience. You will notice strange signs before the message arrives. Perhaps a sudden memory playing in your mind like a whisper, perhaps an old photograph appearing where you least expect it. These are not accidents, they are the soft knocks of fate, warning you that the confession is already on its way. Type Amen to get blessing 333. The confession will not be neat or rehearsed, it will spill out like water breaking through a dam. There will be shaking voices, deep pauses, and moments where they will want to turn back. But by the time the clock moves toward midnight, it will be too late for them to hold it in. It may come in the form of a phone call that trembles from the first word. It may appear in writing, a message sent with hesitant fingers. Or it may come in person, eyes red, unable to meet yours until the truth is spoken. You might not understand at first why the universe chose this night. But timing is no accident. What has been buried for so long can no longer survive in the dark. The forces that protect you know that you must hear it now, not later. When the words reach you, there will be a choice, to respond with fire or to respond with stillness. Your answer will determine not just the future of this connection, but the path your destiny will take in the months ahead. Type Amen to get blessing 727. There is a reason the confession is wrapped in tears, it carries guilt, but also love. The one speaking knows they have caused you harm, even if it was by accident or fear. They know the truth they hid from you has been shaping your steps without your knowledge. The truth is not a small thing. It is heavy enough to explain certain strange events in your past. Things that didn't make sense will suddenly click into place. And you will see clearly who stood beside you, and who only pretended to. Archangel Michael says, "Do not be afraid of the breaking, it is the breaking that will set you free." This confession is not punishment. It is the key to a locked room you've been pacing outside of for years. Once it is open, you will finally see what was inside all along. And yet, the moment of revelation will not be calm. There will be trembling energy around you, as though the very air is charged. The people near you will sense something has shifted, even if they do not know why. Type Amen to get blessing 641. You may remember moments when you felt someone's eyes on you but saw no one. Or moments when you sensed a conversation stopped the moment you entered a room. Those fragments of suspicion were not wrong, they were the shadows of the truth now moving toward the light. There is someone who has carried this weight for too long. They have hidden behind smiles, behind excuses, behind carefully chosen words. But in the privacy of their own mind, the truth has haunted them like a ghost they cannot silence. When they finally let it spill out, you will hear a voice that sounds different, lighter, yet broken. It will not be the voice of someone trying to win, it will be the voice of someone surrendering to what can no longer be hidden. And whether you forgive them or not, your life will never return to the way it was before. You will have crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed. Type Amen to get blessing 559. The hours leading up to midnight will feel longer than usual. Little interruptions will try to distract you, but deep down, you'll be aware of the pull towards something inevitable. This is the way truth travels, it lets the soul feel its footsteps before it arrives. You might notice strange coincidences. A name you haven't heard in years will appear unexpectedly. A song will play that connects to a buried memory. Even the weather may shift suddenly, as if mirroring the weight in the air. By the time the clock nears midnight, you will either be holding your phone, sitting in a room where every sound feels louder, or staring at a message notification you hesitate to open. This is the threshold. Once you step through, you will not return unchanged. Your protector in the unseen realms will be present. Even as your hands shake or your chest tightens, you will not be alone. The truth may sting, but it will also heal. Type Amen to get blessing 902. The one bringing this confession has rehearsed this moment in their mind hundreds of times. They've played out different outcomes, how you might cry, how you might walk away, or how you might simply stand in silence. But no matter how they've imagined it, nothing can prepare them for the reality of speaking it aloud. The truth has been like a locked chest inside them, and tonight, the lock will break. Every second that passes is another heartbeat closer to release. They are not just telling you what happened, they are handing you a piece of themselves they never wanted you to see. You may notice their eyes searching yours, as if looking for permission to continue. They will study your breathing, your hands, your stillness. Their fear is not just of losing you, it is of seeing themselves reflected in your reaction. Type Amen to get blessing 448. Archangel Michael says, when the words spill, they will come in waves. Do not interrupt the tide, let it wash over you. Some of these words will taste bitter, some will feel like they've been wrapped in knives. But hidden inside them will be threads of clarity that will weave together a truth you've long been denied. For years, this truth has been surrounded by walls of secrecy. It has been guarded by people who wanted to keep you in the dark. But the cracks in those walls have widened, and the weight of their guilt has pushed them to the edge. By midnight, you will understand why certain people acted the way they did. You will understand why some doors closed, why certain opportunities vanished, and why you were steered away from paths that were rightfully yours. And most of all, you will understand why this person's eyes have always held a flicker of something unspoken. Type Amen to get blessing 820. The moment will not come with fanfare, it will come quietly, in the kind of stillness that makes your skin prickle. Your surroundings may seem blurred as your focus narrows on their voice. Every syllable will feel heavier than the last, as though each one carries the weight of years. There will be a part of you that wants to shut it out. Not because you don't want the truth, but because you know the truth will change you. It will shape how you see the past, and how you walk into the future. The confession might explain betrayals you never saw coming. It might uncover sacrifices you didn't know were made for you. Or it might reveal that someone you thought was an enemy had been your shield all along. Type Amen to get blessing 991. You may feel the urge to cry, not just for what was done to you, but for the weight this person has carried in silence. They have walked with this burden like a shadow stitched to their skin. Tonight, they will cut it loose, and it will land at your feet. This moment will be more than just an exchange of words, it will be a spiritual transaction. Energy will shift, the air around you will feel charged, and somewhere deep inside, you will know that your life has entered a new chapter. There will be no going back. Archangel Michael says, "The truth is not always gentle, but it is always necessary." And when the final word is spoken, you will hear a strange kind of silence. It will not be empty, it will be the space where old illusions used to live, now replaced by raw clarity. Type Amen to get blessing 412. The minute hand drifts toward the edge of the hour and the room grows denser. You feel the pull of an unseen current drawing everything toward a single point in time. Every breath lands heavy as if the night itself is listening. A vibration trembles across the surface of the table. Your phone lights up with a name you know too well and a message waiting to be opened. The weight of it holds the same gravity as a sealed envelope that has waited years to be read. You steady yourself before touching the screen. The first words appear, small and fragile, as if they could dissolve under the pressure of what they carry. Then the flood begins and meaning spills out in a relentless sweep. You expect anger to erupt, but it does not. Instead, a cold clarity descends and your chest loosens in slow degrees. Truth has a way of cooling fire and sharpening sight. Type Amen to get blessing 774. The confession speaks of arrangements made in the shadows. It speaks of calls taken in corridors and favors traded at the edge of loyalty. It speaks of your name being pulled out of a list and replaced by another hand. You read about meetings that took place at hours meant for sleep. You read about a decision that rerouted your path without your consent. You read about a promise made on your behalf that was never meant to protect you. Every sentence becomes a key and every memory a door. You fit the key into the lock of a night when a plan of yours vanished without warning. The door opens and you finally see who held the handle from the other side. There is an apology sewn into the confession. Not a neat apology wrapped in safe words, but a raw one lined with trembling regret. They admit the reasons they gave you were always missing the center. Type Amen to get blessing 618. You read about fear that turned into control. You read about envy that dressed itself as concern. You read about a debt they owed to someone who never wished you well. The message names the specific day the first step was taken. It names the account that moved quietly without leaving a public trail. It names the room where a contract was discussed that touched your future without your signature. Then the confession shifts tone and the words begin to fracture. Sentences arrive like broken glass glinting with consequences. A long silence sits between one message and the next and you feel the ache of it in your bones. Another burst lands and the memory of a night returns in full color. The night someone told you to stay home because the streets felt unsafe. The night an opportunity sailed past your window while you stared at the dark. Type Amen to get blessing 506. The confession admits that the warning was never for your safety. It was a diversion designed to steer you away from a door meant for you. The person you trusted became the echo that turned you around. You press the screen and a voice note begins. The first syllable breaks and what follows is a river you cannot stop. The sound carries a lifetime of unsent letters and undone choices. They speak of pressure they could no longer hold. They speak of eyes watching them from places you never knew existed. They speak of a choice they made while convincing themselves it was for your own good. Your heartbeat steadies into a new rhythm. The shock begins to rearrange itself into understanding. You feel the invisible architecture of your past shifting into a truer shape. Type Amen to get blessing 289. Another truth pushes through and it lands with unexpected grace. There were moments they shielded you even while misleading you. Blocks were placed but worse storms were diverted and you never saw what missed you. You sit with that complicated math. Harm and protection woven in the same fabric that draped your days. Love that learned bad habits and hid behind the language of guardianship. The confession keeps naming specifics like stars in a mapped sky. Dates, transfers, casual remarks that were never casual, strangers who were never strangers. Everything lines up into constellations you can finally read. You remember standing in a doorway counting reasons to keep trusting. You remember ignoring the thin crack running down the center of a smile. You remember the ache that never found a sentence until now. Type Amen to get blessing 945. You step away from the screen and let the room breathe. Your palms meet each other and stillness forms like a circle around you. Somewhere deep inside, a quiet strength rises to meet the storm. The message continues and the final layer reveals itself. There was a promise made in exchange for a future you never asked them to secure. The cost was your delay and they are finally admitting the price. They speak of envy that slid in unnoticed and amplified by another voice. This voice fed every insecurity and painted your rise as a threat. All of it grew roots in a soil you both shared. Then comes the sentence the night has been waiting to hear. They do not ask you to carry it or fix it or make it small. They only ask for the mercy of being seen without the mask. Type Amen to get blessing 132. Your reply begins as breath before it becomes words. You do not choose cruelty and you do not choose collapse. You choose a clarity that honors the truth and honors yourself. You write that you heard everything and that the night has spoken. You write that consequences will be handled with steadiness and care. You write that the path forward will be shaped by integrity and not fear. You feel something unhook from your chest as you press send. The air lightens though the facts remain the same. Power returns to your hands like a key finally given to its rightful owner. Midnight arrives without thunder yet it arrives like a verdict. The room is the same but your life is not. The past stands behind you with its face uncovered and its lessons intact. Type Amen to get blessing 584. You gather the fragments of your power and fit them into place. Your future does not wait at the mercy of hidden rooms anymore. Your next steps carry a new sound that nothing can counterfeit. You decide what continues and what ends. You decide what returns and what stays outside your gates. You decide who earns the right to speak your name with care. In the mirror you recognize someone you have been searching for. The softness remains but the edges are now protected. The night bows to this version of you and gives you the road. You close the thread but not your heart. You close the door but not your destiny. You close the distance between who you were and who you are now. Type Amen to get blessing 761. The following days will carry the echo of this midnight. Conversations will realign and agreements will be rewritten. Your boundaries will become visible even to those who prefer fog. Opportunities will return that once passed you by. Names that moved against you will lose their influence over your steps. A new alignment will form around your work, your home, and your peace. Forgiveness may arrive like a slow tide rather than a single wave. It will not excuse what happened, but it will release the chokehold of it. Your spirit will choose freedom and your mind will choose order. You step out into the morning with a steadier spine. The world has the same light, but you see it with a different eye. The truth that hurt now guards the doorway you walk through. Type Amen to get blessing 324. Later, the one who confessed will move differently. They will walk without the shadow that once followed their heels. They will rebuild, not around you, but around honesty they can live with. You will not be the keeper of their change. You will be the keeper of your own. Your life will be curated by choice rather than fear. A final message arrives days later and it is simple. No bargaining, no performance, only a clean admission and the hope that you heal. You answer with the strength of a boundary and the grace of a closed wound. The season turns and the ground beneath you settles. You no longer wait for doors that open to unfinished rooms. You create rooms and the doors open because they recognize your name. Type Amen to get blessing 873. Now the story of the confession belongs to the past. The lesson remains and it rides with you like a steady companion. Your steps carry the authority born from surviving what was meant to confuse you. You are not defined by the hand that tried to steer you away. You are defined by the way you returned to your path and kept moving. The night of truth becomes a landmark on your map and not a prison. A gentle promise settles over your days. It says that nothing hidden will rule you again. It says that love and work and home will be built in clean air. You take the promise and plant it where your courage lives. You water it with action and guard it with wisdom. It grows into a future that invites the right people to stand beside you. Type Amen to get blessing 258. The midnight that once frightened you now feels like a friend. It arrived with tears but left you with sight. It proved that revelation is a doorway and not a collapse. You keep moving with calm intention. You keep honoring the details that protect your peace. You keep choosing the version of you that cannot be bought or bent. When you look back, you see the trail of lights that guided you here. Small signs, strong instincts, and a courage that rose on command. They stand like quiet witnesses to the night your life shifted direction. You breathe, you stand, you go forward. The world meets you with corridors that finally belong to you. And the truth, once heavy, now walks at your side like light. Type Amen to get blessing 690. The days after the confession unfold like a slow sunrise. Each morning feels lighter, as though the air itself has been cleansed. The heaviness that once clung to your chest begins to dissolve. You start noticing how different your movements feel. There's no hesitation in your steps, no second guessing when you speak. Your energy is no longer drained by trying to make sense of lies. The confession has become both an ending and a beginning. It closed the chapter where deception lived, but opened the one where you reclaim your power. You carry the memory not as a wound, but as proof of your resilience. Type Amen to get blessing 442. Archangel Michael says, "The truth will always give you more than the lie ever could. Even if it arrives with pain, it still builds a stronger foundation beneath your feet." That is what this midnight gave you, a foundation that cannot be shaken again. The person who confessed moves quietly now. They understand the weight of what they revealed, and they do not seek to justify it. They know the healing belongs to you, and it will happen on your terms. Every place you once entered with uncertainty now feels different. You walk in with the quiet confidence of someone who knows exactly who they are. And those who once underestimated you will sense the change before you speak a word. Type Amen to get blessing 599. You notice subtle shifts in your surroundings. Some people approach you with newfound respect, others keep their distance. Both are blessings in their own way, clearing the space around you. Opportunities that were blocked before now begin to appear. It's as if the universe has been waiting for you to clear this shadow before sending them. You welcome them without fear, because you now see the traps that once hid in plain sight. The midnight moment has taught you the value of your instincts. You no longer silence the voice inside that warns you or guides you. Instead, you honor it as the compass that will always point you home. Type Amen to get blessing 875. The one who confessed may still linger in your orbit for a while. Not to harm you again, but because they are drawn to the strength they once tried to control. They see in you the courage they couldn't find in themselves. But you no longer carry the burden of managing their presence. Your boundaries are steady walls with clear gates. You decide who enters and who stays outside. And this time, there is no room for hidden intentions. This is the real gift of the confession. It didn't just give you the truth, it gave you the tools to guard it. It turned your pain into wisdom and your shock into strategy. And with that, you are unshakable in ways you never imagined. Type Amen to get blessing 360. You find that forgiveness, when it arrives, does so quietly. It doesn't erase what happened, it simply removes the weight from your shoulders. You forgive not for them, but for the freedom it gives you. The past no longer has chains on your feet. The future no longer has shadows over its doorways. And the present feels like a place where you can finally breathe deeply. Every time you remember that night, you don't feel fear, you feel gratitude. Gratitude for the clarity, the closure, and the courage it demanded from you. Gratitude for the strength that rose inside you without warning. Type Amen to get blessing 526. The truth, once hidden, now walks openly beside you. It serves as a quiet protector, reminding you of what you've overcome. It whispers in your ear whenever you need the reminder that you've survived worse. Your life has changed shape. It is more intentional, more aligned, and more rooted in what is real. You no longer chase illusions, you build reality. And somewhere in the depths of your soul, you know midnight will never scare you again. Because now, you understand that sometimes, midnight is the exact moment the light begins. And when it comes again, you'll be ready, not with fear, but with open eyes. Type Amen to get blessing 207.